Welcome to our CDA webinar series, The Impact of the Home Visitor Child Development Credential, the perspectives from the field. So we are going to begin by hearing some words from our CEO, Dr. Calvin Moore, Jr.
Hi, I'm Calvin Moore, CEO of the Council for Professional Recognition. Thank you for joining us today for this wonderful webinar about the Home Visitor CDA. At the Council, our mission is the improved performance and recognition of early childhood professionals working with young children ages birth to age 5. An important part of our sector is home visitation. In 1992, I earned my CDA. I'm really proud of that. An important aspect of that work was working with and engaging parents in the education of their young children. And that's important for a home visitor. When I was CEO of Plaza de la Raza in Los Angeles County, California, I worked very closely with a cadre of 10 to 12 home visitors every day. It was remarkable the long-lasting relationship they forged with parents and how deeply connected they were with how parents chose to raise their children. That is a powerful aspect of the credentialing process. During today's webinar, we have wonderful panelists who will talk to you about the impact of home visitation and the work that home visitors do every day. Thank you for joining this webinar. I hope you enjoy learning about the Home Visitor CDA. If you have questions, my staff are well able to answer them. Thank you.
Our heartfelt thanks to Dr. Calvin Moore for that excellent opening message. My name is Vilma Williams. I am the manager of the multilingual and special programs at the Council for Professional Recognition. When we talk about home visiting, we talk about a very important field. Home visiting builds upon decades of research. Studies show that home visits by a nurse, home social worker, early childhood educator, also known as a home visitor, or other trained community worker during pregnancy and the first years of a child's life improve the life course of families. These professionals assist by supporting effective parenting, improving maternal and child health, and promoting child development and school readiness. Research also shows that evidence-based home visiting can provide a positive return on investment in social, educational, and economic opportunities later in life. The Council is committed to supporting the work of knowledgeable, experienced, competent adult educators working in home-based programs, aspiring to earn their Home Visitor CDA credential. This credential aligns with the research findings that educating parents has a positive impact on children's development. Before we present our panel, what a great moment to hear from 2 home visitor educators who earned their CDA and 1 supervisor.
Hi, my name is Gisela Hurtado and I am from Lima, Peru. I come from a family of 5 siblings and my parents. I am the mother of 2 children. I am also a professional in the field of early childhood education and home visiting. I am a senior director for Early Head Start community sites at the United Planning Organization.
I'm Autumn. I'm a home visitor. I have 2 children, 1 boy, 1 girl. I have been a home visitor for West Virginia for approximately 6 years.
I'm Trella Coppola, and I'm the program director for the McVee West Virginia Home Visitation Program. I have worked for Community Action of Southeastern West Virginia for 13 years. I've been in Head Start and Early Head Start for 13 years. I have 2 amazing children and 3 grandchildren that are my world. And so I am Autumn's supervisor. I've been her supervisor for the last 6 years.
What inspired me to earn my home visitor CDA credential was that I was offered a work opportunity as a home visitor in Rosemont Center, with the understanding that I needed to earn the home visitor credential. And I totally love it once I started working as a home visitor. I felt in love with teaching, coaching, and engaging families in the wonderful world of parenting and supporting their parenting role as they continue supporting their children with their school readiness goals. After that, I became a family engagement specialist at Rosemont. Then I was hired by the United Planning Organization as the Family and Community Engagement Manager. And then I was promoted as a Regional Service Integration Manager.
Part of what my professional life was at that time, I just had a high school diploma. I had some education in early childhood development. I had some college courses, and I was currently already working with families in their homes. When I became a home visitor, I quickly fell in love with my job. I knew then that I really wanted to make a career out of this field. So when it approached, the CDA approached, I was nervous, I was scared, but my supervisor, she encouraged me and I just jumped on, I did it, I didn't look back, and here I am today.
With the Head Start and Early Head Start performance standards, job qualifications changing, and we were looking for areas, ways to help staff with their professional development, whether it be college courses or the CDA process. And for us, we're a smaller program, so the CDA was perfect. It's in the performance standard, a home-based CDA. It's also very affordable. Even the smallest of programs can afford to put their staff through the qualifications. As program directors, if they would be listening, I would definitely encourage them. It does take about 18 months, so it's not a fast process, but I would encourage anybody to go through the process.
One of my favorite moments as a home visitor was the arrival to a family home. The moment when you knock at their door and the parent opens the door, welcoming you into their homes with a smile and saying, "La maestra ha llegado." That was always, touching to me. Another memory that I have is from an immigrant family that I worked with. Their toddler son and the mom was pregnant. They decided to call their newborn daughter Gisela as her middle name. I was speechless. I just simply couldn't understand why they choose my name as one of the names for their newborn daughter. And both of the parents explained to me that they felt so much gratitude on how I was able to make them feel welcome to a new country. I was able to assist them navigating through busy resources, especially in a system that you knew and you're not familiar with. And this, in the middle of much confusion, they found in me, I believe, a friend, a teacher, a professional, a lending hand that understood them. I know by experience what they're going through, and I think that's what it has helped me to really connect with the families and helping them, because I went through the same process.
Making a difference, being able to help families. I have a huge heart, So when I give my all, I give my all. So just seeing those families, knowing that I'm able to help them, knowing that I'm making somewhat of a difference, it means everything.
Obtaining my CDA gave me really the confidence to do more and to have a financial security, being able to provide for my family. I moved from being a home visitor to becoming one of the 2 senior managers for the Office of Early Learning at the United Planning Organization. And really, it's my passion to work with families and children. I love what I do.
It meant a lot to me. As far as the process and the credential, not only did it further my education, but it allowed me to have the confidence to know that I could go in and I have the professionalism to be able to help these families and make a difference in their lives. It allowed me to be able to better my job, better my career, to be able to better serve these families. It allowed me to be an advocate for these families, to teach these families how to become advocates for themselves. I would recommend the CDA 100%. It has helped me develop and provided me confidence that I did not have.
Actually, I was tearing up there a little bit out of Autumn. Just hearing her say the things that she said just really touched even me, you know, because we do it every day. But to hear it is something else. What I have seen with Autumn has been truly a belief in what she's doing, and her confidence has grown tremendously. I watched Autumn's self-confidence. She got more and more knowledgeable to where Autumn would be kind of quiet in the beginning, and now she is actually telling other home visitors what's developmentally appropriate for a child of, say, age 2. So I watched her grow from just not really having the self-confidence to talk about child development and the families, to blossoming to this beautiful person that now talks to anybody. She will talk to directors. She will talk on conferences. Her confidence level, what the CDA took her through and helped her, was just truly a transformative process. So Autumn now is actually leading. She is one of my leaders in the program. We just did some evaluations and I talked about her leadership. The CDA has helped her with her leadership. So now she's leading the other home visitors. She's coaching them. So she took on this role and it was just natural for her. And to observe her home visits and watch her interact with the parents and the children and her interactions with the children, when I do an observation, I just feel so thankful that we had the opportunity to take her through that process. She's who we turn to now. My degree is in early childhood education, and I still go to Autumn like, Autumn, can we do this with a 1-year-old? Can we do this? What do you think? How should we plan this activity? So not only is she helping lead her teammates, but she's helping lead the education piece for the program.
Wow, thanks so much, Gisela, Autumn, and Trella for your great testimonies. Wow, they touch my heart, and I'm sure yours too. Today, we will be privileged to hear from our outstanding panel of home visiting experts who represent 3 of the most renowned home visiting organizations in the USA, the ones that make all this possible. They will be talking about their work the significance of the home visitor CDA credential, and much more. Please use your questions and answers button to write your questions. Larissa Norris, Training and Development Coordinator at the Council, will be taking all your questions, and we will present as many questions as time will allow us to the panelists. So without any further ado, it is my pleasure to introduce our first panelist, Patricia Marikovic, Senior Program Analyst at the Maternal, Infant, and Early Childhood Home Visiting Program, Coordinator for the Office of Head Start, followed by Donna OBrien. Donna OBrien is the Vice President of Professional and Program Development at the Parents as Teachers National Center. And last, we will hear from Krista Herring-Beal, Vice President of Research and Evaluation with the Children's Equity Coalition. You have the complete bios in the invitation we sent to you for this event. I cannot wait to hear from such living legends in this special field. First, we will begin with Patty.
Thank you, Vilma, so much for that introduction, and thank you for all of you for joining this important webinar today. I'm Patty Marikovic, and I'm with the Head Start and Early Head Start programs. And Head Start and Early Head Start has several program options, including center-based, family childcare, locally designed options, and home-based option. So we're going to focus today on the home-based option, and I'll share a little bit about home visits and socialization experiences. And I am going to, there we go. So the home visitors, the home visitors promote the parent-child relationship. And the purpose of Head Start and Early Head Start is to promote school readiness for children, infants, toddlers, and preschool-age children who reside in families with low-income households. So a lot of what we do is really driven by a partnership with the home visitor and the parents, and especially focusing on the goals of the parents as the family and also on the child's development. Head Start home visitors use a research-based curriculum to deliver culturally, linguistically, and developmentally appropriate learning experiences based on ongoing assessment. And the assessments are another part of that partnership that we talk about with parents and home visitors working together. The parent, it really is the child's primary teacher, and the home visitor works directly with the parent when they're on home visits. So what they're doing is really promoting the goals of what the child needs to develop or work on based on interests and abilities. And so we use an early learning outcomes framework for all Head Start and Early Head Start families. And that's fondly called the ELOF. You know, we need to do some acronyms. And the ELOF is actually a framework for children ages birth to 5. And the other thing that's critical about Early Head Start and Head Start is that we really ensure the delivery of comprehensive services. And I'll be talking a little bit more about what entails comprehensive services at the end of my presentation. So when we look at the home-based curriculum implementation, that's done in a prescribed way, actually, but it's got some flexibility because we're looking at parent schedules and what's the best place to meet and also the best time. So our home visits, the home visitors really have a lot of work to do, and they, as you can tell by Gisela and Autumn, they really enjoy what they're doing. Those home visits are provided for at least 90 minutes with 46 visits per year for Early Head Start, because Early Head Start operates year-round, and 32 visits per year for Head Start. Also, I mentioned earlier that it's really important that those visits be jointly planned by the home visitor and the parents, and they reflect the critical role of parents in the early learning and development of their children. The parents are working with the child all the time, and they know exactly what is the next skill or development that they would like to help their child achieve. So when we look at that ELOF, the Early Learning Outcomes Framework, we have resources for the parents to use. And in home-based, there's a ELOF to go, and it's downloaded, and the parents can use that all during the week, even when home visits are over. And they do that, and we've gotten wonderful accolades about that. And the other thing that Early Head Start and Head Start provide are group activities, and we call them group socializations in our Head Start program performance standards, but a lot of programs call them different things like group time or networking or family time. So the idea, though, is that it's a group activity. And those are also planned jointly with the parents, and they're conducted with the parents and the children present. Those can be done in all different venues. Programs get really creative on what they offer for socialization experiences, but the point is that they do provide age-appropriate activities aligned with the ELOF, and they promote progress towards school readiness goals. We encourage parents to share their experiences, and also the socializations strengthen parent-child relationships and promote child development knowledge. What I love about that is parents really can suggest what they would like to do, and home visitors do too. For example, we've had some of our socializations, the home visitors were able to bring in yoga instructors who were able to teach the parents of infants how to massage their babies, and there were a lot of things that they learned during the socializations that they could carry on then through the week when they're at home with their babies. So it's based on age, based on families, based on resources. Those socializations are a lot of fun too. They also must be provided at a minimum of 22 times over the course of a year for Early Head Start and 16 times for Head Start. The Head Start program performance standards do require 2 socialization experiences per month. So how those are scheduled is, again, up to the program. While we have performance standards, how they're implemented is designed and determined at the local level. So I talked a little bit in the opening about comprehensive services, and I just wanted to do a little defining of what those mean. So clearly, as we talked about with the ELOF, and we do assessments and screenings of children in all these different areas, but education and child development services are really essential for what we're doing with families. All of these comprehensive services are essential. We also include services for children with disabilities. At least 10% of our enrollment is comprised of children who have disabilities. And so we do make referrals, and we do work with families, and we get community resources helping us also. We also have family and community engagement services. There's another framework called the Parent Outcomes Framework, and there are about 7 outcomes on that, and we help parents to have family outcomes. We also have health program services with screenings and assessing health care, including dental, physical, mental health, all the realms of health care. We also consider the local community needs. So what's going on in the community? Again, our funding is through the Administration for Children and Families under the Department of Health and Human Services. Funding goes from the federal level to the local level, which is critical because the local programs determine what is the best thing that they need to provide for families based on their local community needs. So again, with the comprehensive services and with the research-based curriculum, we do partner with a lot of other entities, and including parents as teachers. So while we don't have a formal partnership, we do know that a lot of our programs provide choose to provide the parents as teachers home-based curriculum because it does meet our requirements for being research-based. And on that note, I think I'm going to turn it over to my colleague, Donna OBrien, who can tell you a little bit more about that. Take it away, Donna.
Oh, was I muted? Okay, so sorry. I didn't realize it was going to come up. Thank you, Patty. It is awesome to hear how you've outlined all the amazing services that are happening under Early Head Start and Head Start. I know that we have found that collaboration with these grantees to be very fruitful and exciting. And we also find that the way you described the home visitor aligned so well with some of the goals and our mission at Parents as Teachers. So that has been a great partnership. I've been honored to serve in many roles in early childhood parent education and family support at the National Center of Parents as Teachers, and especially over this last year in supporting the implementation of virtual services and virtual training. And I'm just proud to say that home visiting never stopped, whether that was in Early Head Start, other home visiting models, Parents as Teachers programs. Home visitors are a resilient group of people. They're brave and they're creative, and they got out there and they made sure that families were getting their needs met in very critical times. So we achieve much of our mission through of the model through overarching goals. And I'm sure that these goals align with much of the work that you do. They certainly align with Early Head Start and Head Start. And we achieve these outcomes by partnering with families and sharing power with them and listening and really understanding what their goals are for their family and their children. Of course, there are components, as Patty mentioned, that support and structure our work. We, Parents as Teachers, is designed to serve families prenatally through kindergarten year. And we do that through 4 dynamic components, visits where trained home visitors meet with families, typically in their home, but this can happen anywhere. It can be at a McDonald's play place, a park, a center. We support parent-child interaction and family well-being and discuss all those things that parents deal with every day, from discipline to toilet learning, all of it. Just partnering to set and meet their goals. Of course, developmental and health screenings are an important part of early detection of delays and health concerns and connection to those resources that will support families. Families also engage in group connections, which are a lot like socializations, where they gain social supports from each other, discuss parenting topics, and of course, interact with their children. And resources, they're just such a critical part of family well-being. We think of resources as those that those people desire and those that they need. So it could be everything from a library hour to WIC services, all just very important part of the work that is done in home visiting with families. And Parents Teachers model is intergenerational in its approach. We work with all members of the family system because we know that all of those members influence a child's development, but even importantly, the health of a family system, it influences the capacity of those in the parenting role. And that's an important part of supporting our families. Even though we're designed to support all families, much funding is targeted. And so you'll see programs are in different areas because of that. At the core of our model is our foundational curricula. And these robust resources provide home visitors with information and tools, parent-facing materials, and a structure for supporting families within their relationship. It supports family engagement and parent education efforts in center-based settings as well. And all of our PAT model certified home visitors, which we call parent educators, use this curricula as well as other home visiting models, as Patty mentioned, in Early Head Start or in Healthy Families America. Just a brief note about the network, because I think one of the things that the work that you do, that home visitors do, that you may not realize is you are part of a national movement. You are part of a bigger thing than just us. And in that network, Parents as Teachers has state and country offices that support them and affiliates that do the work at their level. So programs are actually serving those families, and that's where those practitioners, those home visitors are located. And I saw a couple of questions starting to come through around, what are the qualifications and how do you get there? And one of the things that'll be answered, and for every model, it's a little different. Typically, you're hired at the program level or the grantee level. But I will say that the home visiting CDA credential has helped prepare practitioners for this very important role, because the quality of the home visitor is absolutely key to the success of the program and to the family. You can see a little call out here about what kinds of agencies Parents as Teachers programs exist in, and they're just all over. We're in school systems and social service nonprofits, family resource centers. We've been in housing agencies, faith-based organizations, childcare, hospitals, health departments, just about anything you can imagine. You even see a lot of that we're in tribal communities, 115 tribal communities to date. And so just a real diversity there. You know, again, that support then is national and state level, and that really supports the quality. Here's just kind of a brief look at where Parents as Teachers exists. Definitely started as a statewide program in Missouri, but now in over 100,000 affiliates and hundreds of partner agencies delivering our curriculum. You know, we are so lucky and honored to really be able to listen and understand at a community level for families what their desires are, and serve families across races and ethnicities with various family circumstances and speaking so many different languages. And this large footprint is often in rural areas. Over half of our programs are in rural communities and small towns. And again, serving that large Indigenous footprint in tribal communities. So we strive to hire our parent educators or our home visitors from the communities they serve. And again, that is why the CDA is so critical, because if you are going to find those Grisellas and those Autumns that are out there, they who have shown us can become incredibly powerful supports to families. We need to be looking within communities and having things like a CDA that can support them in their readiness for this service delivery. So with all of this diversity in mind, I just want to hand over and let Krista tell you a little bit more about that importance of diversity and equity within home-based services. So Krista, take it away.
Thanks, Donna. It's certainly an honor to present with two people that I admire so much. And I couldn't agree more with the resiliency we've seen in the last year. I sat back in awe so many times in this last year, knowing the struggles I was having personally with my family and watching the home visitors just keep going. And I think I need to get in touch with Patty, because I really wish I'd had access to baby yoga when I was a new mom. That sounds amazing. I missed out on that. As mentioned previously, my name is Krista Herring-Beal, and I have the honor of serving families as the Vice President of Research and Evaluation with the Children's Equity Coalition. If you'll permit me, I just want to build on what both Donna and Patty said with actually a personal story of my own. There we go. Oh, back one more, there we go. About 7 years ago, on May 25th, 2014, I received a phone call that changed my life. The caller told me about a baby boy that was born 4 weeks premature. He had a complete cleft lip and palate, and he was blessed with one extra chromosome, which meant that he also has Down syndrome. And the caller asked if I wanted to adopt the baby. A flurry of activity ensued. My family jumped in to help. My little brother wrote a GoFundMe account, and within about 48 hours, 2 hours before the end of my 37th birthday, actually, we received numerous donations, some anonymous, from family and friends, raising the $18,000 that allowed us to bring Carter home. It's an incredible story, and it gets better, but we don't have that kind of time today. It's just been a fun event in my life. Over the next few weeks, NICU nurses trained me on feeding tubes. They trained me on how to monitor oxygen and what kinds of therapies Carter would need as he grew. And then we came home. And we came home to a home where I left as a single student and came home as a mom to a baby with tubes attached, with alarms going off, and he had 17 assigned doctors and therapists. I had no baby bed, toys, bottles, and no experience as a mom. and especially as a mom of a little one with special needs. On paper, I looked very prepared. I had studied in the field. I had a PhD in special education. I'd worked as a speech language pathologist. And if you asked anyone, I would tell you that my favorite day of the year wasn't Christmas, but it was the year I got to volunteer at Special Olympics doing hearing screenings. So it all seemed like it would be a perfect fit. And whereas I think it is a perfect fit, we all know that no class and no volunteer experience or job experience prepares you to be a mom. Somehow they don't have overnights at a lot of those experiences. And that's when a superhero arrived at our door. I actually got to call Sandy and ask if I could use this picture, but I want you to meet Sandy Babbitt. She was our first home visitor, and she is now a lifelong friend. She is incredible and incredibly calm for a mom that you might be able to tell runs a little on the high anxious side. She arrived at our door and she didn't see a baby with a cleft palate or Down syndrome. She saw a baby with infinite potential and a mom who desperately wanted to be a good mom, but needed support in how to do that. Sandy didn't come in with a clipboard full of competencies to check off, and she certainly didn't come check to see how tidy my little less than tidy townhouse was. It's a good thing she didn't arrive the day Carter decided to climb into the dryer, but we're probably doing okay now. He rarely gets in now, we're okay. She didn't even actually come for Carter, she came for me. And at each visit, I was encouraged, I was uplifted, I was taught new skills, and I was left feeling more confident than when Sandy arrived. She made me feel like our little family of two was gonna do just okay. And as a side note, every year we do a Kindness for Carter Day where we do thousands of acts of service within 24 hours. And every year Sandy participates and promotes this for World Down Syndrome Day. If you fast forward 7 years, Carter is a thriving little one. He is reading just a few weeks behind grade level. We've added an amazing dad to our little family, and he loves to play games. And his favorite one is to pretend he is a superhero. We are the proud collectors of multiple capes after multiple surgeries. And what I get to do for a living is support superheroes. And I can't think of any better job than that. The Children's Equity Coalition is an organization with a team of professionals that have been working in this field for over 30 years. Our goal is to remove barriers remove barriers to resources for families and connect caregivers to the many agencies and partners that we have the privilege of working with across the country. If you think about Donna's group and Patty's group and so many others, there's so many things out there. And I was someone who was trained in the field and knew theoretically of these things, but as soon as I was a mom and became overwhelmed and was trying to schedule therapies, it seemed like all of those things I knew were out there seemed very far away. And so what I love that we do at CEC is to help families know that they're there, and we can even help them get connected to those resources, because all of the thing we have in common on this panel, among many things, is that we want to help, and everyone works together to as we help things. One of my favorite parts of what we do, though, is that we actually bring things together. I think in some organizations and some actually past life jobs that I've had, it seemed like people were competing. And I loved it when I got into the early childhood field, because that was no longer the case. Being on calls with all of the models and realizing that literally everyone was like, hey, I can help out in this way, and I can help this family in this way. I've heard of home visitors taking their parents to cancer treatment appointments that are hours away. Just the generosity in the field. I felt like I found a home, and I just love and admire the people that I get to work with. It's been so incredible. Our work right now at CEC focuses in 4 main areas. We focus on that new mom space. I'm a pretty big advocate for that. And one of our favorite team members is expecting any day now. So what to do when that baby arrives. We also focus on that school to work transition, which can also be a scary space for families. We have a new product on our website called Ready Day One, especially after a year being away from school. I know one of Carter's things after 2 parents' attention for a year, which he's loved, is going to be standing in line and sharing attention and figuring out where the lunchroom is that always doesn't serve SpaghettiOs. So if you go to our website, you'll find this product that's been created by another teammate of mine and called Ready Day One, and it's cards that you can use while you're out in the community. We're so excited. And then our favorite part, I loved this icon when I found it. I was like, this is the best thing I could find right now, is supporting these service providers, because we really do believe they're superheroes. And one way we support our providers is actually through our connection with the Council for Professional Recognition. We encourage our educators to get their CDA because, like I said before, as someone who has degrees in these things, there's so much. Every time a home visitor came to my home, I was just like a sponge. I was like, please let me know how I can do this better. And a lot of times I have to say the best thing I heard from my home visitor is, you're doing okay. You're doing just fine. Here's some things you can add, but here you're doing okay. And that allowed me to keep going as a mom. We also know that the CDA is something that will help keep our workforce stable and allow that our home visitors to earn a livable wage, which is one of our 4 primary tenets as we seek for equity in the field of home visiting. And I love that that Donna brought this up as well, that we need to recruit from the populations we serve. It's so important to not have a top-down approach when you walk into a home. I needed someone who could come into my home and say, my house is messy too, it's okay, we're friends, we're gonna be fine. We need to recruit from the social and educational institutions that are around these communities. And we know that that familiarity matters because that's what builds trust. I know Vilma talked about, and it was Gisela that talked about working with immigrant families. You must have trust in these families that are going through transition. It's so important to know that someone's got your back. Home visitors need to be paid a livable wage. I'm so glad that we are learning that, early childhood education in the workforce is being highlighted in this area, but home visitors cannot be overlooked. This is something that's not negotiable. We have experience through our organization influencing policy and working with that. I know that Donna and Patty do as well. We try desperately to be a voice to make sure that these families are earning a livable wage, because you are these families' friends and you need to be able to support your family as well while you're sacrificing to do that. That's how we create a stable workforce. Another thing that I love that our director Stacy is pushing very hard is creating an inclusive and supportive network for home visitors. I can tell you that every time I have gotten something done, it's through the help of other people. I've never done anything successful independently. And the most learning I've ever done and learned well was someone modeling for me and asking a question because they'd already been in my shoes. So having a network for the home visitors that we work with across models, amongst models, is incredibly important. It's something that we're trying to build as well. And lastly, but not at all least, comes back to Vilma pretty soon, and that is the fact that we want to continue this education. We really know that I'm hearing universities say that they want to start building this career pathway. We did that in my last position at a university. We were trying, but it takes effort and it takes a lot of voices saying this is a field where professionals need a clearly defined pathway and deserve this training. At the end of the day, we want to make sure that there's equity, not just for families, but also for home visitors. And we know that the most important people in our work are those people with boots on the ground. And that's where the work truly happens. We get the honor and privilege of helping from behind the scenes, but the work is truly happening when you knock on that door, as Gisela said, was her favorite part of the day, and they welcome you in. And I think that the door opening, especially after a pandemic, is just going to be such a beautiful thing. And I'm so grateful for those of you that do this hard work, and couldn't ask for a better job to support superheroes. So thank you for your time, and thank you, Vilma, for having us.
Absolutely. I'm so amazed. This is a treat of our lifetime. I just wanted to add that, I said that at the beginning, that the council is fully committed to support the work of the home visiting programs. And we mean that. And the diversity and the equity that comes with that work, we're truly committed to that. I'm privileged to work with a group of people, leaders who agree with this. So this is one of the events that we plan so that the whole world knows about what the home visitors do. Because if they don't visit the home and they say hello and they say goodbye or bring toys or take care of the children, they educate the parents and they offer services so that they can navigate through the system that sometimes they don't know. I just want to add that in your presentations also, I want to highlight that the CDA is offered in other languages, in the languages that these home visitors work. These superheroes come in different colors, in different languages, in different situations. At the council, we you know, if you are in the rural area and the cities far away, any language you speak, but if you are a home visitor, you deserve to earn your CDA credential. So I'm so happy that we are a team, and I love that. Thank you so much. Also with that, we will be recruiting professional development specialists, those people that those professionals who evaluate the work of the home visitor so they can get their CDA. So stay tuned, because we are going to be sending information to you who are here at this event to promote that recruitment. So now we're gonna turn it to Larissa for the questions that we have for you, and feel free to answer any of you. And we go from there. We have like 15 minutes to do that. Okay, Larissa?
All right. Well, we've had a lot of people just being very inspired by you all. People really were touched by your story, Krista. So just wanted to pass that along. So there's a couple questions that we can kind of roll into one. A lot of people are really truly asking, how do I become a home visitor? And then that also layers with what kind of education is needed. And then also, is the CDA required?
Okay, we can talk about the CDA. If you visit our website that we're gonna have at the end of this presentation, you can learn how to get your CDA for home visitor in English, Spanish, or in another language. At the council, we're always there for you with your questions, and you can write to us afterwards to get your individual answers for that. But I would like the panel to answer about the requirements, because you have programs that may require the CDA. So anybody can talk about it.
Okay, I'm going to jump in on that, because I also was following the Q&A, and I saw a question about if you have a bachelor's degree or a master's degree, is a CDA required? And I'm going to answer that by saying, as long as you have coursework in early childhood education and also understand adult learning theory, and you have a master's or a bachelor's degree, and it's not required. However, we always promote lifelong learning, just like we do for our families. And I know I've been in home-based option for Head Start since 1989, and I'm still learning all the time. So, as courses are developed, as we learn more about family dynamics and interactions and brain development, why would we not want to go ahead and further our education? And I think a CDA home-based, home-based CDA, a credential, is really a wonderful way to keep on learning. And so we can really be the best home visitors we can be. And I, like the rest of you, I have goosebumps when I think about the work our home visitors do. I always just admire them, the super angels, the heroes, superheroes, everything. They're just, so the answer is keep on learning. And that's one way to do it.
Yeah.
Great. Anybody else?
Yeah, I wanted to say that for the person that asked for the CDA requirements, we are going to have webinars just for how to get your CDA, and stay tuned, because we're going to invite you and take advantage of those webinars, because we dedicate information specific to how to earn your CDA from step 1 all the way to the end. Okay, so I invite you to that. Anybody else wants to talk about the requirements? Donna, are the requirements tied to?
I was just going to say very quickly, Larissa, that, really the start is to go to a family serving organization in your community. So start by going to a local early Head Start, Parents as Teachers, Hippie USA, now Children's Equity Coalition, Healthy Families America, any wonderful program that's serving families, and say, I want to do this. And they're going to be able to tell you what their hiring requirements are. And most of them, as you heard Grisella talk, will hire you in while you're getting something, so while you're getting the CDA. So just start with that home visiting organization.
And what a wonderful opportunity to serve. This is not just a job. This is like a mission. This is service that is, I don't have words to describe. I wish I had a home visitor when I had my first baby. I had no idea that, and I was studying early childhood, same thing that Krista said. So home visitors are angels. Yeah.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
So just so everybody knows, because we've gotten a lot of questions on this, they're asking for the copies of the PowerPoints or the presentation. We will be sending this out by Wednesday of next week. So keep an eye out for that. So that answers a bunch of questions right there.
We will also be inviting you to all the events that the council sponsors on home visit.
Ah, perfect. So you're going to get a lot more information there. That's going to be wonderful. So then let's see. So we're getting a lot of questions about the CDA itself, but as Vilma said, we're going to have all of that information in further webinars. So keep an eye out for those. This is a great question. How can we as individuals advocate for better pay within early childhood, home visitors and center-based teachers?
I think one of the things I've learned is to not be afraid of getting involved politically. I wasn't raised in a hugely political family, in that we were always taught to study the issue and vote for the person we thought was best, but it wasn't something I was trained to kind of interact with. And so I think it was something I feared a little bit, was why would I need to go and talk to someone who makes laws? And then my brother came about and realized that in the state we lived, there was a shortage in a seatbelt law, and he got it changed. And I thought, okay, wait a minute. And so being able to go and sit at the table, and I heard a great quote one time at a Model Alliance meeting, and they said something about, if you don't have a seat at the table, then bring a folding chair and be okay with that. I'm somewhat of an introvert, so that's not easy. But if I feel passionately about something, and you can bet the kids and families that we serve is something I feel passionately about, then it's okay. It's okay to show up at these meetings and ask for things. Another thing that's worked really well in my life is working for supervisors that believe in what I do. And then they are also willing to organize things and help you get advocate for things. We were lucky at the Children's Equity Coalition, and I know Donna and Patty have ties as well to people that are involved in things in DC. And so learning how to work with them and how they send in letters and how there are open things you can comment on and how we can write letters. And it always feels like maybe one voice isn't enough, but I think if we learned anything in the last 2 years, just in society in general, it's that one voice can create change. And not to be super idealistic, but I do think that that's how it starts. Maybe your group at your center goes and attends a meeting together. Families love and appreciate what you do, and I think that they might go with you. So invite them to attend as well.
Yeah. Also carry yourself professionally. Don't let people, tell you that you just care for children or that you just visit homes. You are professionals in this field with knowledge and experience and abilities that help parents. In the case of the home visitors, you educate parents to earn and to learn the skills that they need to work with their own children. So don't let people, when you sit at the table, when you bring your folding chair and all of that, introduce yourself as a professional in the field of early childhood education, working with children and families. Thanks.
Fantastic. Anybody else? Nope. Okay. So this question is being asked quite a bit too. So Vilma, I think this is a little bit more for you.
Okay.
And then we may talk about this more on some of those other webinars, but people are really wondering how to go about locating a PD specialist who's a home visitor PD specialist.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can talk about that. Thank you. I want you first, I don't want you to leave this webinar not having the answer for what to do for my CDA. There are some specific requirements that you have to meet. Experience, education, but the good news is that, like Donna said, if you go and look for a job and they hire you with conditions, they will help you meet the requirements to get your CDA as the best first step. And then you can move on from there. So how to get a PDS who's a home visitor? That is an effort that is a joint effort from the council and the community. The communities where these home visits happen have professionals that need to be identified that we can help train to become PD specialists. But it has to be a conversation between the community and the council. And for that, I'm telling you, I'm not gonna say it and not stop saying it, but we're really good at that. We work with communities and we we'll do anything to help you apply for your CDA. So get in touch with us, get in touch with us. And when we send you the information next week, we're gonna send you my contact information so that you can get in contact with me with a promise that I will answer. So the best way is if you send an email with your phone number in case I need to call you. Sometimes the answers are very long. So we will get in touch and we will take care of your questions and your inquiries. Thank you.
All right. And along the same lines, real quick, somebody says, how can I, as a PD specialist, aid with the program and impact of a home visitor?
How can you ask the PD specialist to serve?
No, so she is a PD specialist and she wants to aid the programs and sort of help with the impact of a home visitor.
Get in touch. Like what Donna and Patty and Krista say, get in touch with your community programs of home visitors. We named them already, get in touch with them and say, how can I help? What can I do besides my role of a PD specialist? Being a PD specialist is a big role because you can serve those candidates. So that's good too. The council also has a list of all the home visitor PD specialists that you can obtain by going on the website and checking for that, finding PD specialists. So we will make sure that you have some of that information when we send in the email next week. So people will have at least something to start with whatever they want to do. Thank you. So
yeah, we have so many more questions.
Yes.
But so if you have any questions, you will be able to write them to Vilma and to the presenters once you get this information next week. So please don't think that we don't care about your question. We absolutely do. We're just running out of time. So Vilma, back to you.
Yes, what a great pleasure it has been to hear from and to learn from the three of you. Thank you, Krista. Thank you, Patty. And thank you, Donna. You represent excellent work from your organizations, and we're so thankful for your participation today. And thanks to each of you who have been at this session, for your attendance, for your participation, for your questions. As we said, we will follow up with you. We wish you the best in your work, in your future work. I don't know if you, Patty, Chris, and Donna want to say some final 1 second words for the participants. Patty?
Just thank you again for participating, and we are here to encourage and support the home visiting profession, and we encourage you to reach out to other home visitors in your community.
Thank you. Donna?
I think Patty's represented us well. Thanks for all the hard work that you do for families.
Thank you so much, and we wish you the best in your work, and we will see you again in our next event. Have a wonderful weekend and another week. Bye-bye.